Hello and welcome back everyone. Now as promised, in this lecture we are going to make arrays. Awesome. So for example, we are making an integer array. So what should be the data type? The first thing to remember is that if it is an integer array, all its elements are going to be int or integer, right? So type in int. Okay. Now we need to tell Java that it is not just a normal integer variable, it is an array. So how do we do that? We follow the data type with two brackets, an opening and closing square bracket. Now what this indicates is that it is an integer array. Suppose you want to make a floating point array. We type in the name of our element data type, which is float in this case, and to indicate that it is an array, we use opening and closing square brackets. So that is the data type of an array. Okay, the next step is to name the array. So let's call it numbers. Okay, awesome. So that's our variable name. Now what we need to do is that we need to store a value in this, right? So equals. Now unlike variables, we are not storing just a single value. We are storing a group of values. So how do we do that? Instead of just typing them 1, 2, 3 like that, first we start off by putting a curly bracket. Remember, it is not the ordinary bracket, it is the curly bracket. I'll zoom in so that you guys can see it clearly. We're using a curly bracket. We open it and close it. Now inside this, we can add our elements. So it's numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. Now remember, we need to separate these using commas. Okay, so we just made an integer array called numbers, which has the values 1, 2, 3, 4. We end the line with a semicolon. This is how you create an array. First step is to type in the data type of the array, which is basically you type in the data type of the elements of the array followed by opening and closing square brackets to indicate that it is an array. Next step is to type in the array name, which we did, which is numbers in this case. Then we equalize it to a group of numbers, and to make a group of numbers we use two curly brackets, opening and closing, and between them we type in our elements, each comma separated. So that is how you make an integer array. Now in case you want to make a string array, you're going to store the color names in it. So let's do that. It's a string array, so you type in string, which is the data type of our elements, opening and closing square brackets. Now a name for it, let's call it colors, and we'll equalize it to red, yellow, blue. Okay, we close the bracket and end the line with a semicolon. Now I want you guys to pause the video and try creating a floating point array on your own. I'm sure that you guys will be able to do it. Before we end this lecture, let's try printing out some values of these arrays. I told you that the counting starts from 0. I stressed it more than once in our last lecture. So what should we do to print the first element of our numbers array? It is very simple. Like usual, you just type in system.out.println. Now inside, what do we type? We need the first element of numbers. So to get the first element of numbers, first step is to just type in the array name, which in this case is numbers. Now to get the 0th element or the first element, we type in opening and closing square brackets, and the element inside it is 0. Why 0? Because we want the first element. We use 0 to get the first element, 1 to get the second element, 2 to get the third element, and 3 to get the fourth element. If you remember back, I'm telling you this many times because I want you guys to remember it very well, the counting starts from 0. Let's try running this. You can see that we got our first element, that is 1. Now I want you guys to try and pause this video and print out the first element of colors. Okay, it is very simple. All you need to do is just replace this with colors. Now we run this and we get the first element, which is red. If you want to get the third element, all you need to do is just type in 2. Why 2? Because we're counting from 0, so our third element is 2. 0, 1 and 2. Okay, so that is basically how we use an array. So we learned to create an array, and we also learned to individually access each element of an array. So that is all about this lecture. I hope this is very clear. So I'll see you in the next lecture where we learn more fun things about arrays. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.